Hi there, and welcome back to episode 2 of Let's Play Satisfactory. In this episode, we will build a permanent starter base, we'll expand power grid and automate fuel production, we'll do a bit of exploration and deforestation in order to gather wood and leaves for our fuel production, and we will unlock milestones in tiers 1 and 2 in the hub. We already unlocked first 2 milestones and we'll continue unlocking the rest of them in tiers 1 and 2. First thing we have to do is expand our power plant in order to supply enough power for our base factory. In last episode we unlocked foundations, so we can bind them. If you hover over a building and then press a number, it will bind it to your action bar. Now when we want to place a foundation, if you press Ctrl on the keyboard, it will snap it to world grid if you want to have aligned all your factories. Also, if you press R, it loops through different building modes. The grid that we need for our power plant will be 10 by 10 foundations. So this is the platform for our power plant. Next we have to place 16 biomass burners. We'll place them in 2 rows, 8 and 8. Now that we have placed all the biomass burners, we have to wire them. Now when all the biomass burners are wired, what I like to do is put here several power lines, just so we can connect all the machines to the power grid. Next, we have to build 4 constructors for processing wood and leaves. We'll set 2 constructors to process wood into biomass. If you point at a constructor or any machines that you have already set a recipe and you press Ctrl C, you copy the recipe, and with Ctrl V we paste it. And the other 2 will set to process leaves. Ctrl C and Ctrl V. Now we have to connect them to power. And we can use one of the poles we prepared here. Now we will need also containers to store all the biomass. So we'll build here 4 containers for each constructor. Okay, now we are ready to connect our current machines to the power grid, and we'll just have to supply some fuel. So we can connect this power pole here. And put some fuel in. this should do for now. These 16 biomass burners should be enough to provide enough electricity for the base that we are going to build. Now with our power plant and fuel production automated, we can get into base building. But before we get into that, if you have any extra wood from your exploration or leaves, you can just drop them here in these constructors to produce biomass. We'll be building our base just above this power plant. The platform that we need will be 20 by 10 foundations, and we'll center it. So this is 10 by 10, so we'll go to the middle. If you want to count it a little bit easier, you can just press F and Control and we'll count the foundations for you. So the middle is here, the 5th foundation, and from here we'll build a wall, just a temporary, to count 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the height where we'll be building our base. So it will be 10 this direction, 10 this direction, and 10 that direction. With our platform for the base ready, we need to find an easy access up. One way is to use ramps to get up, just like that, and we can easily get up. Now in our base we'll have 3 factories, one for iron, one for copper, one for limestone. For each resource we'll be using 100 or 120 units. From 120 iron we'll be making 20 iron plates, 30 iron rods, and 120 screws. From 120 copper we'll make 30 copper sheets, 30 cable, and 60 wires. From 120 limestone we'll make 40 concrete. For the whole base factory we will need 8 smelters and 20 constructors. But make sure that you have some spare resources for wiring with cables and conveyor belts. We'll start with placing a splitter, one platform aside. We'll keep this row empty for walking, for easy access. And we'll place this right here in the center. This is where we'll get iron input. At the moment we have only Mark 1 conveyor belts unlocked, what will be bottlenecking us because it takes only 60 resources per minute, but we will need 120 iron. Next we will place a smelter that will be smelting iron ore into iron ingots. And we can connect them. Now we will leave one foundation empty and place a constructor on the next one. This one will be making iron plates. In total we want to produce 40 iron plates, so we will repeat the same thing. Here will be another constructor for iron plates, and here will be another smelter. Now if you also have a tree in the middle of your platform, don't worry about it. Once we unlock chainsaw in one of the next milestones, we'll get rid of it. For now we can place a foundation like so on the ground. If you press H you lock the hologram, and now we can move it on the ground to the position where we want it, like so. this will be also iron ingot, and we'll place another splitter. Now this splitter wouldn't be coming from outside, but from the splitter that we already placed on the ground, like so. Next we'll prepare rods production. So we will need one smelter, like so. But if we look at the recipe of the rods, for rods we need only 15 iron ingots, but the smelter is producing 30 iron ingots. So what we are going to do is we will split it using splitter. That's why we left one row empty here, so we would have space for splitters. And we need to rotate it, so it needs to be coming from the smelter to the splitter. And now we are not going to do something dodgy like this. We'll do a right angle. To do a right angle, if you have your machines centered in the middle of foundations, you just do 2, 1, 2 back, click, and there we go, right angle. So these are rods, and now we will merge them to have only one output instead of 2 separate machines. If you already have splitter on your hotbar, if you press E on your keyboard, you will swap to a merger. We want the output facing away. That's where we'll be collecting all our products. And now again to the middle of the foundation, 1, 2 back, and right angle. We'll continue now with screws. Now in order to make screws, we have to make rods. It takes 10 rods to make 40 screws. We want to make 120 screws, so we'll have 3 constructors making screws, but to provide for 120 screws we need 30 rods. To make 30 rods we need 2 constructors to make 30 rods. So one we'll have here, we'll leave the gap in the middle, and one we'll have here. We need only one smelter, as rods take only 15 ingots to make 15 rods. And again to make a right angle, 1, 2. We'll leave one row empty here, and we'll build 3 constructors for the screws in next row. Now we have 2 constructors making rods. We'll use splitter in front of each of them. And we'll use a merger in the middle. So what will happen is these 2 constructors will be feeding into the splitter's rods, but as the constructors on the sides will not consume all the rods, the spare rods will go to the middle to provide enough rods for the constructor in the middle. Next we have we finished all the iron products, So next will be copper and concrete. Once we build it, we'll review what we have built. Now that we have all the machines at its place and all connected with conveyor belts, let's review what we have built. From the right side, we have 2 smelters feeding 2 constructors, producing 20 iron plates each. Then we have smelter splitting into 2 constructors, producing 30 iron rods, and the third smelter is splitting between 2 constructors, again producing 30 iron rods, and those feeding into 3 constructors, creating 120 screws. For copper, we have it split between 3 smelters. First smelter is splitting between 2 constructors and creating 60 wires. Next smelter is split again between 2 constructors, creating 60 wires that are fed into another constructor, making 30 cable. The last smelter from copper is splitting between 3 constructors that in future will be making copper sheets. At the moment we didn't unlock copper sheets in the hut in one of the milestones. And the last 3 constructors are making concrete. Now each of the constructors for concrete makes only 15 concrete, but we want to produce 40 concrete to have 100% efficiency. Therefore we'll have to unlock underclocking. Once we unlock MAM, or research in one of the milestones, we'll be able to underclock the constructors so they are 100% efficient. So at the moment they will not be 100% efficient when we start the factory. We still have to connect all the cables, but before we do that, let's unlock our first milestone in this episode that will unlock us conveyor belts Mark II, so we can provide all the resources to the smelters and constructors that we need. To unlock conveyor belts Mark II, we have all the resources apart of reinforced iron plates. We don't have this automated, so we'll have to manually make 50 of them to unlock this milestone. Okay, now we have all the resources that we need to unlock conveyor belts Mark II.
Milestone reached. Improved versions of conveyor belts and conveyor lifts are now accessible. To encourage additional verticality, conveyor poles now have a stackable variant.
While we are waiting for the launch pod to return, we will make more reinforced iron plates, because we will need a lot of them to connect miners to our factory and also to upgrade Mark I conveyor belts to Mark II. Now that we have enough reinforced iron plates, we can connect miners to our factory. Let's start from the top, from the factory, where we will prepare the inputs. We'll be using conveyor lifts. Now we have unlocked Mark II, so we can place first one for iron, and we'll be facing it that way, as that's where the iron nuts are. Next we need to connect copper. Now copper is just behind us, that way. So we'll face the input there. And last, the concrete. Concrete is just here, so we'll face it this way. Now we'll use only one miner for each of the resources, as in our location we have pure nodes for each of the resources. We're going to turn the miner to face the direction which way we need to go. And now when we are using conveyor belts, we'll switch to Mark II with E on keyboard. And a little bit up so we can walk underneath. Okay, that's concrete connected. Now let's connect copper. We'll first disconnect the smelter and constructor that we have here, so we will not need them anymore. When your inventory is full and you disassemble any machines or buildings, there will be crates with the materials left over. We can collect them later. Okay, that's copper connected, and last is the iron. Once we unlock in future conveyor belts under the ceiling, we can attach them to the ceiling, but at the moment we have to do it just this way on the ground. We have to disassemble as well smelter and constructor here on the iron. And we are going to lift it a bit from the ground. Okay, that's all three of them connected. Now we can upgrade the belts in our factory. First we'll upgrade iron, so we already have marked to lift here, so we have to now upgrade all the belts. We don't need to upgrade belts, they are going to smelters because each of them is carrying only 30 iron ore, but these ones that go in between the smelters will upgrade, and we'll do the same with copper. And the same with concrete. Limestone is coming here, we need to upgrade only this one. Now we'll have all the outputs coming here to this corner, from where we'll take it upstairs. We are going to build another level where we will have our hub built, we'll move it, and where we will have our storage. So let's build over here 7, because we have 7 items that we are producing. So let's build here 7 conveyor poles in the middle of each foundation. Now with all the machines connected to the electricity, we can see that the items are already backlogging here. The only item that is missing still from these 3 constructors here are copper sheets that we still didn't unlock. But before we do that, we need to unlock obstacle clearance that will allow us to automate further fuel production. Now, we already got screws from our automation, cables and concrete.
Milestone reached. Biofuel will ensure maximum efficiency of biomass burners. To aid in biofuel production, you are now capable of removing foliage that consists primarily of wood. Additionally, R&D inflated your pocket dimension.
Thank you, Ada. Now, to automate further fuel production, what we are going to do, so we unlocked now recipe for solid biofuel, what is even more efficient than biomass as a fuel. And now we are going to remove all these constructors here. We'll also remove the containers. And we are going to place here 4 containers. And it's facing the wrong way. We'll place here 4 containers facing this way. We'll use 2 of those for wood and 2 of those for leaves. Now we will place 4 constructors here. We'll set this to make biomass from wood. And 2 for biomass from leaves. Then we will place here another 4 constructors. So we have automated production of solid biofuel. We have 4 containers here. The right 2 ones will be used for wood and the left 2 ones will be used for leaves. From each container goes directly to 1 constructor. The closer to me, on the right side, 2 of these are producing biomass from wood. The other 2 ones are producing biomass from leaves. We have here another row of 4 constructors. All 4 of them are making solid biofuel, and then we are gathering it here in 4 containers. Now let's do some exploration and let's go gather some leaves and wood. For that we'll have to make a chainsaw. For chainsaw we need more screws. Okay, and I'm back here with enough screws, so let's make a chainsaw. And for chainsaw we will need solid biofuel as fuel. So let's make some solid biofuel and we can go cut some trees. Okay, we are ready to go cut trees. Let's equip the chainsaw. First tree that I really want to cut is this one here in the middle of, well, not in the middle but in our platform. and with chainsaw it will be so much faster to get all the wood and all the leaves. Now as part of exploration I want to go get that slug right there. On the way we will be cutting the trees and bushes. And here is our first slug.
This semi-slug seems to emit unfamiliar energy readings which could potentially be retrofitted into Fixit technology. A new research tree can now be accessed in the MAM.
We'll be researching this slug very soon in MAM, as this will unlock for us overclocking and underclocking. And over here we can see a crash site. Throughout the map there are multiple of these crash sites, and we can extract from them a hard drive which will allow us to do further research on alternative recipes, which will be very useful in future when we will be making more complex factories. In order to open these crash sites, there are usually different requirements. This one requires 30 megawatts of power, so we can just build here a biomass burner, give it some fuel, connect it, and we should be able to get a hard drive.
Data on the hard drive has been salvaged and can be repurposed to unlock an alternate recipe. Salvaging more hard drives will provide additional alternate recipes.
Around these crash sites there are usually scattered resources, so especially in early game it is very useful to just make sure you gather them all. The inventory is full, so we cannot take any more. Oh, and there is another crash site right there. Let's go have a look. So to cross different obstacles or walls we can just use foundations. We'll use a ramp because it seems that it is a little bit higher above us. So we have 3 hooks here. Let's see how it goes. Maybe we can avoid fighting them. We can just build foundation. all the way to the crash site. Let's see what we will need here to open it. Okay, we need again 25 megawatts, so we can just build a biomass burner here. And connect it. And let's take our second hard drive. Okay, is there anything useful? We are already producing screws and wires, so we don't need them that much. Okay, maybe we could grab this. We are not making those yet, but we will be soon. Oh. Now let's try to avoid fighting, and we can just get up using ramp again. We can drop wood into this one, and leaves in this one and this one. Next, let's unlock another milestone. Another milestone that we can unlock is part assembly, which will unlock the copper sheets that we already set the constructors for, but we didn't have unlocked copper sheets yet, so we couldn't set them up. And it will also unlock assemblers, which will allow us to build or produce or automate reinforced iron plates, which until now we had to craft manually.
Milestone reached. More complex assembly of parts can now be automated. Project assembly parts can now be constructed and sent up via the space elevator. Note: project parts are too complex to produce by hand.
So the three constructors that we didn't set for copper sheets yet are these three. One, another one, and the last one is this one. While we are waiting for the launch pod to come back, we can finish our base. We are going to build another floor. On this first floor we will have just these machines that we already have here, and on next floor we are going to have our base. We'll move the hut actually upstairs. We will build it 3 walls up, and now we can clip a foundation to it, and we'll have to refuel biomass burners. And we'll also have upstairs the containers, our storages for all the items that we are producing here. To go upstairs we can use foundations again, I mean the ramps. We will not need this wall here anymore. And let's place a foundation here so we don't fall. Okay, now we can place containers on these foundations here, where we will have the items coming. Now remember, for screws we will need Mark II because we are producing 120 of those. With conveyor lifts connected to the containers, it should look something like this. Now let's unlock another milestone. We are also going to move the hub upstairs, but before that let's unlock field research. What we will need for that is wire, screws and iron plates. Let's actually move our hub upstairs already, as we have all the resources upstairs now. We can place the hub, let's say, here. So we need screws, wire, we have wire, and we need iron plates.
The map has been unlocked. Milestone reached. The molecular analysis machine, referred to as the MAM, will allow R&D to provide new technologies, items, and buildings based on samples collected in the field. To ensure a greater chance of success during exploration, an upgraded tool belt has been provided, as well as an object scanner and beacons. Note: the object scanner requires calibration via the MAM to enable detection of specific objects.
Okay, I'm just moving up a little bit to the side. So we have unlocked MAM. Now in MAM we can research items that we gathered. We gathered power slug, we will need, so now we can unlock overclocking and underclocking. We will need one more power slug to unlock that. There is one just there, so we'll collect it in a moment. Before that, we can research also hard drives that we found. Let's try to get that slug there. With the slug collected, now we can craft a power shard. And we need that power shard to unlock overclocking, but we still need to wait for the hard drive. Meanwhile, we can unlock other milestones. Next we have resourcing. We just need more iron plates.
Milestone reached. You have been given early access to the Anti-Waste Effort for Stress Testing of Materials on Exoplanets bonus program. Funneling parts into the Awesome resource sink, depending on their amount and complexity, will grant you coupons in the Awesome store, which can be exchanged for bonus rewards. Examples of bonus content are parts, walls, factory attachments, and cosmetics. Fixit is working hard to develop additional options, which will be added to the awesome store in the future. Go that extra kilometer. Go awesome.
And the last item to unlock, we'll need rotors. We'll leave this for next episode, as we'll be automating production of rotors and reinforced iron plates in next episode. So that will be all for today's episode. Thank you for watching, and we'll have a look also at the hard drive and alternative recipes in next episode. Thank you, and see you in next episode.